To connect with us this morning for this town hall meeting. My name is Dan Clark. I am the director of the local government center at Montana State University. And we are want to just extend a heartfelt welcome to all of those individuals that have newly joined the ranks of an elected official serving in a town or a city across the state of Montana. Those of you that are joining our call, we welcome you. Um, now you kind of transition from council member or mayor elect to actually likely you've been participating in your first city council meeting this week and being sworn in, and it's all exciting. So we thought that today, spending this time on our this webinar as an opportunity to introduce you to some of the resources that are out there and available to you and to your municipality to help you be successful. And so we're gonna go through and do introductions and give an explanation of the different organizations that are here to support you. On the phone we have, or on the call, there's Tim Burton and Kelly Lynch from the League of Cities and Towns. We've got Alan Hulls, and who else? We got Janelle Favreau from the Montana Municipal Interlocal Authority. You've got our shop with the local government center. You've got Ashley, there she is, and Troy Holt. And I also see that Darla Erickson from the Local Government Services Bureau has joined us as well. So we may give her an opportunity to talk a little bit about the services that they offer. So with that kind of brief gives you a little bit of the landscape. What I want to do is just share a little bit about the Local Government Center, and then I'll hand it off to Tim to talk about the League of Cities and Towns. So the Local Government Center, we're part of and affiliated with the Montana State University. We've been a center since, well, about 37 years, and we were created to address the need around the state when the municipalities and counties were going through their very second the study commission of voter review process. And so that's really the beginning of the center, and it's kind of morphed into what we are today. So our mission is to provide technical assistance, research, and training to local governments across the state of Montana to help build their capacity to better serve the citizens of the state. So we work with cities, we work with counties, and special districts, and we provide training from roles and responsibilities to ethics to open meeting laws. Anything you want to know about governing and governance and process and procedures and the form of government that you have, or options that you might want to pursue in changing the form of government that you have, any of those technical questions, that's really what is our strength. And we work with, through technical assistance, we answer emails and respond to questions. We provide in-person training. This week I've been in Billings, working with the Billings City Commission. I've been working with Helena City Commission. Next week we'll be in Whitehall working with their city commission. So we travel around quite a bit, helping cities and towns understand their roles and responsibilities. So some of the other trainings that we offer is a leadership program, and that's what we brought Troy on to help us start designing and developing a leadership program for cities and counties around the state. So he may be reaching out to some of you over the next several months, doing kind of a needs assessment and understanding what your needs might be relative to helping develop your capacity as a leader in your community, and also understanding kind of the management needs that you might have to be a good manager of your organization and how to be a leader in that organization. So we're happy to have Troy joining us to help with that. Some of the resources we have available for everyone is the Municipal Officials Handbook. I hope, oh, I should have one to show you. I have like 3 in my office. I can't reach any one of them. But the municipal, there, Ashley's getting one. We're so excited about the Municipal Officials Handbook. There you go. That's the green one. I think, is that the most current one, Ashley? All right. So the most current one, there's three editions of this handbook, and the most current edition is green on the cover. You can also download it from our website, the Local Government Center's website. You can either get it as a hard copy, you can order that from the extension MSU extension publication, or you can download it from our website. Part of that handbook, we have about 2 or 3 times a year, we offer a what we call the Fundamentals of Montana Municipal Government. It's an online course that you can take that is tied to the municipal officials handbook. So it really helps you understand what's in the handbook, and it allows you through this online course to be assigned with a cohort, and you are able to interact and to talk and share ideas and questions amongst the group. So that's a great opportunity for you to connect with other municipalities, other elected officials and staff around the state through taking that online course. And the basis or the text of that is the handbook. The other thing I want to bring out or point out is on our website, you can take an online course. It's a self-paced tutorial on parliamentary procedure using Robert's Rules of Order. So if you're new to running a meeting or participating in a meeting or want to brush up on your parliamentary procedure skills, there's a great online course that we've developed that's self-paced. You can walk through it, and it just kind of refreshes you and gets you a connection to the parliamentary procedure. And one of the things I also want to point out is that I've mentioned the League of Cities and Towns and the Montana Municipal Interlocal Authority and the Local Government Services Bureau. All of us work really closely together. And so whenever you call one of us, if there's something that it's not necessarily within our wheelhouse or our expertise, we may refer you to someone else. But I just want you to know that it doesn't matter who you call in any one of these organizations. We'll make sure you get connected to the people that can help you and support you in whatever your needs might be. And so with that, we have put together in collaboration with all these organizations on the call today, we recognize your needs throughout the year and how do we provide educational opportunities and capacity building opportunities for you to participate in. So one of the things that's coming up, and I don't know, Tim or Alan, if you were going to talk about the executive forum, do you want me to just touch on it? Okay. So for the executives, the mayors and city managers and chief administrative officers, we host a training for you every year in March. And in the off years that we're not having a legislative session, we usually do it somewhere around the state. Community has an opportunity to bid and host that. This year, it's going to be hosted by the city of Choteau. So all the city mayors and managers and CAOs are invited to come to Choteau on March 2nd through the 4th at the Stage Stop Inn. We'll have a series of a tour, we'll have workshops and training opportunities for you to develop your skills and understanding as your role as the executive of your community, the chief executive. So that's one of the things coming up very shortly. I also want to point out the Municipal Institute, the Montana Municipal Institute is in May from the 2nd to the 5th, and that will be in Bozeman. And the Municipal Institute it's been going on for almost 40 years, I think longer than we've been around as a center. But a couple of things that are really important to understand is this is an opportunity for the municipal clerks, treasurers, and finance officers to participate in a training program that builds their capacity to where they could be a certified clerk. It's an international certification that we host, and it's a 4-year curriculum. So by investing in the development of your municipal clerk and send your clerk to this training, it will really help them understand their job much better and help them be more effective in their in the work for the city. So that happens between the 2nd and the 5th for all the municipal clerks. And starting on the 3rd to the 5th is all the elected officials are invited to come, and we do a training for city councils and mayors during that time also. as well as there's an opportunity for training for city attorneys for the Tillotson program that happens during that same time. So this is a big institute, training for city attorneys, for all elected officials, and for your municipal clerks. And that's going to be, again, May 2nd to the 5th in Bozeman. More information will be coming out. We're working on developing the agendas right now. But on that agenda, we have, representation from Darla and the Local Government Services Bureau. We're going to be reaching out to the league to have them do some discussion about the upcoming legislative session. We usually do something around HR with MMIA. So it's a great opportunity to connect with all of those resources that are out there to help you, as well as get some training and interact and network with your fellow municipal officials. During the summer this year, we're hoping to do an in-person municipal summits where the league and MMIA and the center, we get together, we travel around to 10 to 12 different locations in the state. We invite all the staff and elected officials to participate, and we go through some highlighted training for just a day out in the field around the state. So that's an opportunity where you may not have to travel very far to participate in one of those municipal summits that are around the state. And then I'm going to leave, Tim, you the opportunity to talk about the annual league conference. So I'll let you talk about that. And I think that is my list. Ashley, is there anything I'm missing from my list of things I was supposed to cover?
I don't think so. I think just leaving with the idea that there are some resources available right now. And if you do need the local government center to come out and do a training on site, we are available to do that, and happy to talk about that offline if you want some more information about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So with that, and what we'll do is we'll have each one of us kind of give a brief explanation of who we are, like I just did, and then at the end you can ask any questions. So as you have questions come up, just write them down, and we'll come back to them later at the end of the presentation. So with that, I'll turn the time over to Tim Burton at the League of Cities and Towns to share his thoughts.
Well, good morning. My name is Tim Burton. I'm the Executive Director of the Montana League of Cities and Towns. I'd like to welcome all the newly elected local government leaders to the team. The League is a 90-year-old association owned and operated by all the cities and towns in Montana. There are 127 incorporated communities in Montana. And our primary role is to provide training, technical assistance, research, and advocacy services to all 127 cities and towns in Montana. We are governed by an 18-member board of directors made up of elected officials and appointed officials throughout the state of Montana. And they meet about 4 times a year. As I said, we do provide advocacy services at the local, state, federal level, not only with Congress and the legislature, but also with state agencies and federal agencies on behalf of all the Montana cities and towns. Dan had mentioned that the League puts on an annual conference every year. Next year will be, I think, our 91st in Kalispell, and that's where we all come together for about 3 days. We put on excellent programs. It's a good opportunity for you all to network with your counterparts throughout Montana. And we usually get around 400, 450 people involved in the annual conference. And of course, you'll be hearing from us later on this year as we organize and prepare for that conference. That's in conjunction to what Dan's already said with the executive forum, the regional meetings, etc. And so with that, I'd also like to turn it over to Kelly Lynch. Kelly Lynch is presently the deputy director of the League. I've made it known to the board of directors that I will be retiring at the end of June. The board has selected Kelly Lynch to take over as the executive director at the end of, or at the first part of July. So we're in the middle of a transition. I'm happy to report that the transition is going smooth. With that, Kelly, I'll turn it over to you for an introduction.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. Hi, everybody. I'm Kelly Lynch. I'm, I guess what the term we're trying to use now is Executive Director Designate of the League. I've been with the League for just over 5 years, and I am a certified land use planner. I've worked with many of you in different capacities over the years on land use work. I'm also an attorney. And I'm also certified ADA coordinator, so I can help folks with questions specific to complying with the Americans with Disabilities Act. Before I came to the League, I worked at the Montana Department of Commerce as a Community Development Division Administrator for just about 10 years. So I oversaw the Treasure State Endowment Program, Community Development Block Grant Program, Coal Board, Hard Rock Mining Board. So involved with all of those kind of grant programs and pretty familiar with all of those. And as I said, my background's really strongly in community development. So I love working on those issues. I am handling a bunch of interim projects for the League right now, including some work on nutrient standards, on land use, and also upcoming property tax ballot initiatives. So you'll be hearing more about all of those things at the Executive Forum, and then probably again in May at the Municipal Institute. I did want to mention one more resource that I'm not sure has been mentioned yet, but we have put together a website that is for folks to just kind of get their initial questions answered. If something comes up and you're kind of like, oh, I have no idea what someone is talking about, it can help kind of direct you to the right place to go. It's called mtmunicipalhelp.org. And we've kind of set that up with information, and Janelle's posted it there in the chat, information about a lot of the things that Dan mentioned, and kind of help direct you to the resources that we've mentioned, and which organization can help you with any questions that kind of come up in an emergency. So if you can't get a hold of one of us, you can try that as well.
Thanks, Kelly. And I did not mention much about the National League of Cities, but the Montana League is a member of the National League of Cities. There are 49 state league organizations throughout the country, minus Hawaii, who only has counties. They don't have incorporated cities and towns. I've sat on the board of directors of the National League. They're a tremendous resource. Every municipality in Montana is a member of the National League through the affiliate program and direct participation. Obviously, we work closely with the National League on issues like the CARES Act, ARPA, the new infrastructure bill, and provide technical assistance through them as we work on the ground to implement and get good results through all those programs. So that's also a tremendous resource for all of us. And I just want to make you aware of it, that we're all members, and we utilize and work with those folks on a daily basis. So with that, Dan, I think we can turn it over to Alan for an introduction, and then have a discussion and try to answer any questions that folks may have.
Great, thanks, Tim. First of all, welcome to all of you new elected officials, and thank you for stepping up and serving in your communities. I'm Alan Hulse. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Montana Municipal Interlocal Authority, MMIA. That's a lot easier to say. The MMIA is it's an interlocal agency. We're a risk retention group for cities and towns. And the best way to describe us is the way we don't like to be described, and that is we serve and act like an insurance company for cities and towns. And I say it that way because we're not an insurance company. We are an interlocal agency, and there's some distinct differences. We're owned by you all. Everything we do is municipality centric. We only provide coverages and services to cities and towns. I work for a board of directors, similar to Tim. It's made up of 15 municipal officials from across the state. They sit at the board table and they have ultimate say in the coverages we provide, the services we provide, the prices we charge, et cetera. So we're different in a lot of ways from an insurance company, even though that's the function that we serve for you. We actually have 4 separate risk retention pools. We have a liability pool that covers you for third-party liability. So if one of your citizens is harmed or injured or damaged in some way, we would step in your shoes and provide that coverage to you, either pay those damages or defend your actions if we don't feel you're liable. We also provide a workers' compensation program or pool that covers your employees for on-the-job injuries. We have a property pool that covers you all of your assets and properties directly. And then lastly, we have a health insurance pool that provides benefits to your employees. We've been around for 36 years. We were started back in 1986. As I said, we're owned and operated by the league. In addition to assessing our members and paying for those claims and providing those coverages, one of our core missions is to provide training, education, and risk management services to our membership. We get involved with you in a lot of different ways, and the whole focus and goal is to help you manage your operations, to minimize exposure to the extent possible, because then it saves you money. We don't have to charge you as much to cover claims that don't happen. So we offer, in addition to the services and the trainings that Dan and Tim and Kelly have mentioned, which we're a part of all of those, we do have an employment practices specialist on staff that works with our membership for employment matters, policy issues, potential claim issues, just kind of working and consulting in that regard, all things HR. We have safety specialists that work with our membership on workplace safety issues, putting in programs, doing trainings. We have an online, or not an online, it's a kit program called Safety Smart, which is really a toolkit for safety meetings, for trainings, for policies, et cetera, to help keep your workplace safe. We have an online child abuse prevention program that really deals with areas of your operation that interact with the children of your communities and gives you a toolkit and training on how to really manage that risk. We have cybersecurity online training programs and platforms. We have online DVDs and libraries, training libraries. And we really, the brunt of what we do, in addition to all of those things, is just day-to-day consulting on contracts, on employment issues, on potential liabilities. We will come out and do ad hoc training in your operations where a need arises. So we really try to be a resource in all things risk management to our members. And again, the goal is the more we can help you manage those exposures. And you notice I don't say prevent, because you can't prevent. You can just try to manage. But the more we can help you to manage those exposures, the less cost there is to everybody. I've got a staff of 33 people here in Helena. They're dedicated. They're very much subject matter experts. And so I would encourage you, as issues come up, as you're dealing with your jobs, whether it's a potential liability concern, a safety concern, no matter what it is, just reach out and give us a call. And if we don't have the answer, we will certainly find the answer for you. And with that, I think that's kind of an overview of who the MMIA is. We do work very closely with the league. In fact, we share a building here with the league, so we collaborate very closely with the league on all municipal issues. I'll turn it back over to you, Dan.
Okay.
Hey, Dan.
Kelly, yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to briefly mention, I don't know if Alan has other ones, but we do have a few of our board members for the league here on the call today. Mayor of Roundup, Sandra Jones, is on. She is our immediate past president. We have Mayor of Great Falls, Bob Kelly. He is our, I think, first vice president. I'm hoping I'm getting that number right. And then Nikki Rogers is a new board member from town of Bainville. And I think that's it. If I missed you, speak up. But I wanted to acknowledge them. Thank you.
Kelly, I'm looking through the list. You would put me on the spot and test my technological capabilities. The only person I'm seeing, and if I didn't see you, please speak up, but Mayor Joe Purcell from Hardin, who was just yesterday appointed to the MMIA Board of Directors. So he will serve at his first board meeting coming up in 2 weeks. And Mayor Purcell, I'm glad you're on the phone. We've been trying to connect for a couple of days. I do owe you a phone call, and we'll try to get back to you this afternoon.
Thank you. And Mayor Purcell is also on the league board. He is our second vice president.
Great.
Any other MMI board members that I'm missing?
I'm Doug Carricker, sitting here. I sit on both the boards, both the MMI and the league, as a brand new board member on the league. So
Thank you, Doug.
Doug's
Thank
the
you.
mayor of Havre.
Kitty Schmidt from the city of Glendive is on.
Wanda James from the City of Superior is on.
Jody Rogers with the City of Shoto is on.
So Jody is a new board member. Kitty is a new board member. So we've got a few new board members on the call, and thanks for joining, guys.
Yeah, great. I'd like to just give Darla a couple of minutes as well. If you would like to share a little bit about your program there at the Local Government Services, so people are aware of the services that you provide.
Sure, thanks, Dan. Local Government Services Bureau is here to assist about 1,300 local governments within the state of Montana. We ensure uniform reporting between the local governments. So you submit your annual financial reports, budgets, and the audits come through us as well. We have a staff, when we're fully staffed, of 5 accountants that provide technical assistance and training to the local government staff in accounting. So that would mean following generally accepted accounting principles and GASB, the Governmental Accounting Standards Board. They're pretty active lately. There's some big pronouncements coming up, and can't wait to talk about them at the Municipal Institute. But we're here as a resource, and also there is a regulatory basis to us, and that's when you submit your audit to us and you have findings. If you have significant findings or any findings, you file a corrective action plan. And we are following up on those corrective action plans now with recent legislative changes. There are consequences to local governments that don't correct significant findings. So we are trying to follow up with local governments. And what we do is contact you and come up with a technical assistance plan. So we're here to help you through the process of getting through that finding, just to make sure that it's not a repeat finding, that you don't receive it in the next fiscal year's audit. But we have a staff of accountants. We're here to help you anytime. Go to our website. We have templates to help you with your financial reporting, the annual financial report, budgets, helping you calculate your net pension liability. We have those tools and templates for you. We're here to, assist with your budgeting questions, your taxation questions. Just give us a call anytime. We're here as a resource as well. We have training on our website as well. We keep up the chart of accounts that you follow in your accounting system. So just with any questions, give us a call. We're here to provide that technical assistance and training. And if you have questions about your audits or your audit contracts, let us know as well. I'm the accounting, auditing, and financial reporting manager. We have another manager who's a financial compliance manager. On Monday, we have a new bureau chief that will start. Danielle Vincent is going to be our bureau chief starting on Monday. And we're just moving forward. Right now, annual financial reports were due December 31st. So hopefully you guys all have your reports in to us. if not, just give us a call. That's what we're here for, is to provide that assistance. And we are at the trainings provided by the Local Government Center and also MACO and the League. We're here to, just provide that assistance in the areas of accounting. So a lot of times if you call Dan with an accounting question, he'll probably send you to one of our accountants.
Yeah.
But don't hesitate to reach out to us. That's what we're here for.
Thanks, Darla. And
Yeah.
if you could, why don't you if you're able to put your web address in the chat, that might help too for them to be able to access some of those training modules.
Okay. I will do
Great.
that.
Well, thank you. And so now I'd like to open it up. If anyone has any questions you might want to ask, or anything you'd like to, I guess questions at this point about the different organizations that we're here to help, or other training opportunities that we might be able to provide to you. Or if you got questions about any of the organizations that you've just learned about.
Looks like Kim has a question.
I have a question. So I'm wondering if I had taken a note earlier that one of the and I'm the new mayor for Cut Bank. One of the organizations helps with management training, skills with human resources. And I wondered if any of that training was also extended to the individuals in the city who also have staff underneath them, so that they can also understand how to manage well, have a positive work environment, dealing with interpersonal office issues, things like that.
Yeah, great question, Mayor. We at the Local Government Center, we're working on one of those a training program like that to help with the supervisory training, to assist those that are new in the supervisory role, or those that may show promise and potential that they may become eventually the next public works director. How do we help them develop those management skills? As we often say, just because you're really good at driving a backhoe and grading roads, it doesn't necessarily make you a good manager of people. So how do we help that aspect of the development of the individual? So that's one of the programs that we're working on developing. And so that's what Troy's been tasked with doing, is trying to create that framework and create the opportunities to provide those trainings around the state. So that's one of the roles that we're playing right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I would add to that, Mayor, the MMIA, we do have an employment practices specialist. We can provide technical training for management supervisors, supervisory 101, how to do effective performance appraisals, how to manage legally, sexual harassment in general, those types of things. Derek Shepard is our EPLI specialist, and he can do that training in person. We just need to kind of figure out timing and who needs to be trained, and we can set it up and do it.
Yeah. So lots of opportunities around that, and this is a great time to talk about, Mayor Winchell, you've expressed the need, and so what you could do is reach out to other communities or municipalities around you and say, hey, who else has this need? And that might create an opportunity to host some sort of a training for multiple communities around in that area. There's 127 municipalities, and it can be somewhat daunting to try to hit every one of them. So if we can kind of cluster things together, so we're happy to work with you on trying to figure out where might that be. So you can reach out to, Shoto and Conrad and Shelby and some of those places, say, hey, can we offer or host some sort of a training or a series of trainings that might move around to different locations? And that's the kind of the beauty of this, is we're happy to work with all of you to figure out the best way to leverage the resources available to meet your needs.
And Dan, that's a good segue into a question in the chat, is about the listservs that we host. I can speak first. You guys have the meat of them, but I can speak first to a few that I kind of have running through the league. First, the city attorney listserv, where all the city attorneys can find information and talk to each other and send out questions to the other city attorneys to get answers to their questions. That's a pretty highly used one. And then I keep one for tax increment financing folks in your community who work on tax increment financing. And then I also have one for city planners and city planning directors. So if you have folks, even if you have a consultant on staff that works on planning and land use issues, there is a listserv available to them to ask questions and then talk to other communities and see what they've done in particular situations.
Yeah. Yeah, we found these listservs to be a real valuable resource. What we envision them as being as creating a online community. So we have one of the most active ones we have is for the municipal clerks. And so on there is going to be the clerks and utility billing clerks, assistant clerks. And when there's a question, if somebody has a question, they'll just throw it on the listserv. And then you have all those other people around the state doing the same work. And you get all sorts of support and answers to questions. So if your city council is considering a chicken ordinance, for example, you might ask the clerk to say, go on the listserv and see if you can get a bunch of chicken ordinances. And so you'll get half a dozen chicken ordinances in about 20 minutes that you can look at and then see what's the range of ordinances that are out there and how do you create an ordinance that might work well with your community. It's always easier to look at examples to create something that works for you than just make something up from thin air. So that's a great resource. I think yesterday they were asking about resolutions and others, so those are often common, or how do we work through some sort of an accounting issue? So it's a great resource for the clerks to connect with each other. And if your municipal clerk isn't on that listserv, ask them to make sure we can contact our office. Ashley, do you want to put
Jane's email? So Jane McDonald is the person in our office that manages those listservs, and she's great, super responsive. So just give her a shout if you want to get on those. Can I add the other ones, Dan?
Yeah, go ahead.
So we have the municipal clerks listserv, which is great. We also have one for mayors. We have another one for city managers. We have one for public works directors. That one's the newest. And it is, I think we're still trying to figure out how to make sure it's utilized, but it's out there. So we're trying to start some traction. We also have one for HR. We do not have a listserv for council members because we don't want to create an online quorum with all of you if you're discussing things amongst the council body. So we tend to work through the mayors and the clerks listserv to get information out and then have them distributed out to the local officials.
So it's a great tool. If you might be on it, receiving some random emails, it's like, what's this all about? It's likely the listserv. So it's an opportunity for you to engage and ask questions or respond to questions. Yeah.
We recommend setting up a rule in your email and having it go to a file folder so it doesn't eat up all your space in your inbox.
Any other questions in the chat, or Tim, did you have something to say?
Yeah, I do. I see in the chat the reference by Mayor Kelly about the Infrastructure Coalition and also our relationship with the Montana Association of Counties. And our strategic partnerships are strong. I've already mentioned our relationship with the National League of Cities. In 2015, following that legislative session, I got together with the Montana Chamber, and out of that came the Infrastructure Coalition, which is made up of about 100 organizations, including the Montana Chamber, the contractors, architects, engineers, small businesses, MACO, the League. And we put that together because for decades, state and federal government had walked away from funding infrastructure, and all of our infrastructure was falling apart. And the first priority we had was to raise the gas tax, and we were successful. But the other importance with the Infrastructure Coalition is these folks are all our partners now. Prior to this, we didn't work all that well together on a regular basis. But if you consider that you can't come up with new money for infrastructure investments without protecting your base budget, that becomes a very important strategic alliance across the entire infrastructure coalition, including working on or against the present tax freeze initiative that is floating around Montana. Also, we work very well with the Montana Association of Counties. As you know, there are 56 counties throughout Montana. And from a local government perspective, a high 90% of the time, what's important to cities and towns is also important to the counties as we work our way through legislation and policy related issues at the state and federal level. So with that, I think, Mayor Kelly, that's kind of a brief of what you were asking about.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it.
Dan, you're on mute.
Sorry. Are there any other resources that we're neglecting to mention to the group?
Hi, Dan. I had just put in the chat that Local Government Services is also the state administrator for Social Security, and that would include your Section 218 agreements. I included a link to the page, and Chuck Richardson would be our contact person on Social Security. So your Section 218 agreements, that includes when you withhold Social Security tax from things like firefighters and police officers, and if you have agreements in place already. So we do have those agreements here if you need a copy of your Section 218 agreement.
Great.
Local Government Services.
And
Thanks,
Dan,
Dara.
this is Kelly. We do have, and I know Tim briefly mentioned the work that we do lobbying during the legislative session. We do have a software program called Engageify that we use to push communication out to you, make sure that you can follow any of the legislation that we're tracking, where that's at in the process, what's happening, and we will call on you periodically, specifically to help us with legislation as it comes up. If you have contacts with particular legislators in your area, or if they are heavily involved in a bill that's going to impact local government, we will likely reach out to you and the folks in your area to help. So I just wanted to let you know that you will see, as we get into the legislative session or closer to the session, emails kind of driving to and from that system. So, and we can do more training on that as we get closer to the legislative session, which comes faster than anybody ever wants it to.
Right. All right. And I'll just mention that I've been visiting with several cities and counties up in the northeastern part of the state. And it's getting to the point where we're coalescing around trying to start looking at some dates to travel out there and travel to that part of the state and do a series of trainings. So if you're interested in participating in one of those, please reach out to us and and we'll try to get you on the list of communities to participate in some trainings in that area of the state. So, all right. Any other questions from the chat, or any other questions people might have they want to ask through the microphone?
Dan, I do have a question that came in to me through the chat about getting a copy of this chat. So I think that's a good segue to just let everybody know that this is being recorded. It will be posted on our website, and we'll get it over to our partners at the League and MMIA as well. We'll get it out to everyone on the listservs, and I will grab a copy of the chat so that we can get all of these resources down as well.
Great. Anything else for the good of the order? Well, seeing nothing else, we'll just wrap up by saying again, welcome and congratulations, and we look forward to working with all of you into the future. We're grateful for those that are the incumbents that have been around for a while, and we're looking forward to getting to meet everyone that's just joining the Team Municipal. Woohoo! And we hope that you appreciate all the resources that are out there We're just a phone call or email away. So don't feel like you're out there on your own. So there's a lot of capacity out here to help you. So with that, if there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and close out this town hall meeting. And we wish everyone a warm and safe holiday week, or not holiday, just regular weekend.
Thank you all.
Everybody.